Welcome to My Fix It Up Life, everybody. We're talking designer dilemma diagnosis.
Yes, we're diagnosing design clients today. And whether you're diagnosing yourself, somebody that you're working for, your mom, your neighbor, your friend, trying to figure out what actually people want instead of what they say they want, because the two things don't always match up.
In fact, they often don't match up. And then you mess up. And we're talking to a great designer, Vanessa DeLeon.
Yes, from American Dream Builders. And we're also talking to the two lovely gays who have charmed me on Twitter. And I'm so excited to talk to them for our first time.
Yes, very excited to talk to those guys. So stay with us and please help us help you bring this podcast to you and radio show. Visit our sponsors for your DIY projects: drywall repairs, home repairs, cleaning outside, painting, Hide Tools, and Shoreline. Visit them. Let them know we sent you. We're ready to bring you a great show.
Designer Diagnosis starts now.
Let's take a hypothetical situation and say, I don't know what I want. I want to paint my living room. I want to design my bathroom. I want to get new lighting.
Mark?
Let's use these hypothetical situations where I don't know what I want.
Mark?
Yes.
That never happens. Anyone who knows
That is why.
knows that you know exactly what you want, what you like, what you don't like, and you're not like coy about it. Like you're very like, hate it, love it, I don't care.
Yes, and it is also, and I'm sort of stealing this because I heard this on Adam Carolla's Ace on the House podcast.
Okay.
Do you know why I can do tons of things? I don't waste time.
Okay.
I'm not having a whole ping pong match in my head of, oh my God, what am I going to do? I see something, I look at it, I see it through, then I act. And action is where stuff happens.
I feel like I'm in some kind of like, I don't know, motivational kind of environment. We have a lovely guest that has joined us, though.
And she's going to give us, Vanessa, I'm going to get it right, DeLeon.
Yes.
You got it.
Interior designer. She's been on TV. I went to the press page of your website, vanessadeleon.com. And, well, when do you find time to design?
That seems to be the question for everybody. Thank you for having me on the show, by the way.
Oh, we are so excited to have you on. This is our first time talking with you. We follow you on Twitter, and, you know, it's really nice to be able to see you and talk to you.
Same here. Same here. I follow you guys back, and I appreciate the opportunity. So, yeah, that seems to be the question. I need to wear a lot of hats during the day. I'm a contractor, interior designer, social media person, television personality, and then a psychologist at the same time. So I stay up really late at night. I get it done. I don't feel like there's enough hours in a week and a day, but I tend to get it done. And to be honest with you, it's having a good team. And it's all about your team. You're only as good as who you have working for you. So I feel strongly about that.
That is such a good thing to say and to hear, because, you know, I think that there are a lot of people that have been involved in TV. You see that one person, like you were on American Dream Builders recently, and you see that one person in front of the camera, but you don't see all of the people that are helping behind the camera too. And you know, it's like any construction site too. Like it's listed, the architect, you know, and the general contractor. But then, like, all the other people that are working on the project don't get a lot of credit.
The assumption is that Nate Berkus is out there at night with his tool bags on, you know, putting on shingles. And it's not the case.
Well, we're talking about designer diagnosis today. And, you know, with all the different projects that you've done, you know, working on TV, like American Dream Builders, Restaurant Impossible, all of those shows, and all the commercial projects that you do, all of the residential projects that you do, we wanted to find out from you, how do you figure out what your clients really want instead of just what they say they think they might like? Do you look at nonverbal cues? Like, how do you sort of diagnose your clients?
So I use an interesting strategy. That's always the challenge for any designer who goes into a job, or any architect. What a client necessarily says or wants isn't what they really, really want and want to have in their home every day. So there's a lot of time that I'll go into a job site and they're showing me things that they like, or things that they like in inspiration pictures, and then when I put a presentation together, and this was in the beginning of my career, which was very challenging, it wasn't the case. And then they're like, no, this is not what I want. I mean, it's great. I love it if I went to a hotel and stayed there, but this is not what I can live with every day. And that's a constant challenge and struggle. So what I've done now in my career, in 15 years senior in the career, is I make sure that I really hone in on the client. I go inside their closet. I see what they like to wear. I go through their home. I think it's important, even just style-wise. If you see all monotone colors and zero pattern or stripes or something polka dot, you know that all of a sudden there's this person that you're just creating in your mind, and you're sort of becoming a psychic. And that helps a lot. And then with that, obviously inspiration, because we're so lucky now with social media and having Pinterest and all these house.com and all these great websites that you can go to really get inspiration. I have my clients create a mood board or inspiration email and forward that to me. And then from there, I start developing and creating with mood boards. And I think that's a great way to understand the client. I think there's zero room for error at that point. And then with my business, I do renderings, and they're all 3D, virtual renderings. You see exactly what it's going to look like before it's even implemented, and I think that's important too, because there is zero room for error, and they see exactly what they're going to get.
I love that, because that is something that I think a lot of people struggle with who aren't designers or work in construction or work with something in a way where you have to always be imagining what it's going to look like from a drawing to real life. And I was looking on your website, and I know that you have the virtual design as an option where people can hire you as a designer. I want to know not how that works, but how did you come up with the series of questions and the different things that you have that you ask those virtual clients?
The virtual website stemmed from just an everyday client meeting. So these are the sort of questions that I ask my clients on an everyday basis. Are you entertaining a lot? Do you have animals? How many children do you have? Do you plan for this to be a home for you and your significant other? Do you plan to upgrade? Do you plan to downgrade? These are all questions that are really important when you go visit a client. And I think knowing these questions is going to help you sort of make the project evolve. And the steps are just every day. Like, these are things that the back and forth bantering between the client and I, knowing and understanding what their needs are. First at a functional level, and then it's from there it becomes beauty. So then the series of questions of colors that they don't like, colors that they like, colors that they hate. I like to know colors that you hate. Let's say I throw in a pillow that you hate the color purple, and I threw in a color purple, and all of a sudden all you're staring at is that color purple pillow. So those are important things to understand, and then from there the project just evolves. And it's just, honestly, it's just from experience, and these are questions that I now ask my clients.
Have you found over the course of your career and all the commercial and residential, and you mentioned hotel, I would live in one, by the way, so just send that over, and I would probably have to live in one after the home invasion I did to find out what color the people liked rifling through their closets. That I segue, though, Vanessa.
I think she does it a little differently than you're imagining.
I do it differently. I have my own style, but it doesn't waste time, as I said before. I get right to where I'm going.
It's not like an action film or something.
Life is too short.
Like, she's not rappelling into the room.
It's too short, but I sort of raise it
with the cape.
Yeah. I zip in there like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible with the. I'm hanging there. You know what I mean? And I cut it that close.
And they're like, that's not what I want.
Right.
But how many times or has this dynamic ever happened to you where it's actually worked, where the ridiculous statement, the joke, you don't want a giant Buddha in the corner, and the person's like, yeah, I do. That's awesome. And it, something ridiculous or extreme sort of informs a real idea that you can put together.
Like the bed I think I read about on your website or on an interview. There was a special kind of bed a couple had. Do you know what I'm referring to? Bed? Yes, the bondage bed.
Now we're talking. Vanessa, you're
Where did you find that interview?
I totally found it. So that you had to design the bedroom around this bondage bed.
Your interview's now extended to 4 hours.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, let me just say that this was before 50 Shades of Grey, everyone. This is probably in the very beginning of my career. And I had no clue this thing even existed. I was so naive to this world. But yes, it was a request. And I honestly thought it was a game or just someone playing a prank on us or punking us. And we're like, okay, Ashton, where are you? We're being punked. You know, sort of that thing. But yeah, so this one particular client wanted the entire pied-à-terre designed while he was away in London. And I said, okay, great. He's like, except I have one thing that you need to work with, just one thing, and it's a bed. I'm like, okay, great. Can you send me an image of it? I want to see if it's metal. Is it upholstered? What kind of bed is this? I want to make sure everything works with it. So he proceeds to send me a very small image. I mean, like this small. I tried to open it up, and it was completely pixelated. And I said, okay, I'm sorry, I can't see this. Can you send me to the link? And then I was sent to the link, and he says, please don't navigate from the site. And the first thing I did was navigate from the site to the site. And lo and behold, it was bondagebeds.com and all these, like, bells and whistles. You could just imagine. Now, if you've seen 50 Shades of Grey, just kick it up a level. It's exactly all that and more. And I was floored. I didn't know how to act. But I try to act like I'm cool, like, oh, we get these requests all the time. And when I went to present to him, I had the image of the bed, not with the, contraption all open, just like a regular bed, because it did look like a 4-poster metal bed. So, and I try to act super cool about it.
Sure it did.
No, it really did. You would never know walking into this gentleman's house that it is a bondage bed. It really is like a transformer bed. And it's just trying to be cool about it. Like, this is like not our first time that we got this request. We're totally cool. We're designers. We get it. And this is the first time. And it was hard. It was definitely a tough pill to swallow when I was doing the presentation with my assistant, because both of us were like in our heads like bondage bed the entire time.
Did you think you were actually just going to get cuffed to the chair and like that was your last day? Like, we really need this job. I'm going to do it. But
he doesn't look like he can harm a fly, so that's what even makes it more shocking, if you will.
Decepticons unite! Who are the other ones?
Well, I think I think that is probably a hefty tale to tell for designer diagnosis.
I don't know, Vanessa
I think
DeLeon,
this could be a TV series.
At VanessaDeLeon.com. All I got out of this was bondage bed.
They get trade discounts at bondagebed or whatever that website was. I forgot. But they get trade discounts. I swear.
That's good awesome to know, I think.
That is awesome. So if you need to know what color to paint your living room, please visit VanessaDeLeon.com and get her real-world advice. If you have sexual proclivities, have a good time.
Have a good time with that.
She is also your designer.
We do have to bid you adieu. And I have to say, I read that you want to be the next Latina Martha Stewart. Yes. I think you're already there.
You need a phrase though, like whatever she said, make it right, or we do good things. What does she always say?
I have absolutely
no
idea.
She has a thing that she says. What's that?
She has a slogan?
Yeah, she has a slogan like good stuff or something. I don't know what it is, but you got to get one, and it's got to subtly refer to the bondage bed. We got to go.
No, it doesn't. Thank you, Vanessa.
Vanessa, thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye, guys. It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
We're talking about designer diagnosis today, and I feel like we should have one of those like Law and Order kinds of things.
Why in the world
Right?
would you dramatize it like
I
that?
think it should be a drama because sometimes if you don't diagnose what your design client wants, it can totally be, oh my goodness, drama. But not the good kind of drama. It's like the Real Housewives kind of drama.
I love that.
And we are talking to, I've been cyber stalking you guys for a while.
Jordan Cluroe and Russell Whitehead joining us from England,
Yes.
Yeah.
the continent, if you will.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
it's much colder here than there.
Maybe not. It's about to snow here.
Is it?
Oh.
Oh, don't tell me that. I don't like hearing about any more snow. My husband comes from like the land of snow, New England, and I don't.
I
No,
love
thank
it.
you. I'm like a ski lodge bunny. I'm not a ski bunny at all. But yeah, I've been cyber stalking you guys because I found you on Twitter, two lovely gays, and I said, okay, I gotta know. So I started following your Twitter feed, and then I started laughing and chuckling and giggling, and then going to your website, and then learning all about what you guys do. And I thought, you know what? What a great perspective on trying to figure out what clients want by asking you guys who, you work together. You're a successful TV star, and you have an adorable dog.
Yes.
We do. He's sitting here very quietly. in
He's
his
just
bed.
there, asleep.
And what's
He's
his
probably
name?
Asleep for the moment because he's a bit loud. He's called Buckley,
Buckley. Oh.
or Buckley the Wonder Dog is his full name.
That's very nice to
We'll
him.
post that on our Facebook page and get 4 million likes.
So I'm curious, I read that you guys have been bombarded ever since last year with the TV show, trying to sort of go through people's strange and interesting requests for design consults and design projects. So when you're going through the process of meeting a new client or a potential client, how do you start diagnosing if this is a good client for us and what do they actually want?
Well,
I feel like I should have a stethoscope to diagnose them. I think because both of us started out as actors, we sort of learned about getting inside someone's skin and about characters, and that's kind of where our perspective began. And so we're very interested in people, and we don't necessarily pin ourselves down to a style that you might go to a specific designer for. We're more interested in adapting to the people that we meet, and if there's a connection, then we like to work with that person.
I think that we always say the first time that you meet a client is the only time they will be on their best behaviour. So actually, it's sort of the most difficult point to read them the most, because they've put a good shirt on and they've tidied up a bit and sort of tried to make the best impression they can. So it's really about delving into them and trying to pull out as much as you possibly can. Also, we often when we've sort of finished a shortest consultation, we then like to have a walk around, take some photographs, have a look in the wardrobe, have a nosy at the pictures on the bedside, and really, that's when you get the true idea of who these people are.
I think you can actually tell a lot just from that first. A lot of times we leave that first consultation and people say, "How can you know what we like?" It's like, well, that's kind of our job. Because we just, there's a lot of cues that you pick up along the way without actually specifically asking them questions about what they like.
So what do you, I'm sure that's what you're going to say. What do you look for besides what they actually say? Because what people say really isn't always what they really mean.
Yeah, very often people come in with, I really like that sort of style, I really like this, I really like that kind of brand. And often it's best to kind of just forget all of that and sort of,
I'm terrible. I look at what they wear. Shoes particularly, and a watch is a good giveaway. You can see where people spend their money and what they, a good pair of shoes is sort of I think a benchmark for quality. They're often the last thing people, especially guys, forget about.
Hold on, I have to go change. You didn't tell me You
They
didn't tell
can
me
see
they
your
were-
shoes.
They didn't tell me they were good at this.
No,
Jeez,
no,
I
they
just thought
are.
these were a
They
couple
are
actors.
No,
All right.
they're real designers, Mark.
Oh, I thought you were kind of like, when you buy a picture frame at the store and there's the pretend family in it.
Oh, really?
You're just the pretend designers we were going to use to have on. All right. Okay. So hold on. Now I have to come up with a real question. And
So
I
what does it
really
say
do actually have one. Watch this.
Oh, wait,
I'm going to
okay.
ask it now.
All right, I was going to ask a question about you to them. So.
Okay. We've got time.
All right.
We've got time. For the diagnosing the client, how do you work with what I call the client who either has a good eye or they think they have a good eye, and they don't know your investment in your craft. So they think they're like on a peer-to-peer with you.
Yeah.
And that can be delicate, right?
It's very delicate because you can't storm in there and rip to shreds something that someone's very proud of, because often they'll show you a space that they say is finished and they'll sort of proudly present this and say, we want the rest of the house to come in line with this. And you're like, okay. So you have to be very delicate, because sometimes it's not necessarily what you would call finished. And so, it's have to be gentle.
The thing is, we're talking about decorating people's houses at the end of the day, and personal taste obviously comes into it on a massive level. So I think what we try to do is sort of take into account their personal taste and then make it better. It's sort of...
Okay, what are the top 3 you don't say it out loud when you meet that person?
Oh
my God. Are you kidding me? Like, what's your internal monologue for that?
We have a rule that we try and keep our mouths quite shut on the first meeting. Yeah. The less that we say, the better, really, because then you're really going to find out something about the client.
Let them talk.
Yeah.
Is what one of the hardest ones is if they show you a particular piece of art or something that they really love that they have, and when you see it and your heart sinks and you think, oh God, we've got to try and fit this into a scheme somehow. Or we often maybe would suggest that would look great in another room. This room that we're not,
I'm sorry. I'm dying inside.
There's a lot of and always start with the positive as well. So like, that is so beautiful. I think it would look amazing in the study, the smallest room.
It would look really good under your bed.
It'd be great inside a safe.
Your closet's a great place for that piece of art. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had in the past where someone has said, I've spent a lot of money. Everything is very expensive. We've actually come across that with clients, and it's...
Well, sometimes clients get like terror that, I've spent so much money and it's not worked. Why hasn't it worked? I need your help to kind of get me out of this situation, and it's very important. And they have this kind of fear and terror in their eyes, and you sort of want to say, it's okay. It's just interiors.
Yeah.
It's all going to be okay.
I think in general we try to not take it too seriously. There's such a horrible stuffy edge around interiors sometimes, and we try to be the complete opposite of that. I mean, one thing that we do with Cake or Death, we have this thing that we call Cake or Death. So, for example, we've got 2 furnishing fabrics that we might be wanting to do the curtains with. So we choose the one that we want them to choose, and then we choose a really horrible one. So that's Cake or Death. And then inevitably when you present the 2, they go with the really nice one. So that's that's a little trade secret for you right there.
Which we learned from... I was going to say, we learned it from a kind of mentor of ours, Daniel Hopwood, who's kind of really up there in the British design world, and he's been great in giving us these little nuggets that really help.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one that we use quite regularly.
But I think because the nature of what we do as an interior design brand is that we push our clients beyond their boundaries, and I think it's really important to take what they think they want, and we will discuss that in a session together, what we know, the look that they want that is going to make them really comfortable and happy. And then we discuss what we would like to give them and where we'd like to try and take them that is way beyond that look that we know they want. So it's always good to push your clients' boundaries and take them into new territory, which sometimes results in a bit of a wobble on their part and they get a bit scared, but that's something that you kind of hold their hand and work through, because I think they always end up much happier with something that they couldn't possibly have imagined. And that's quite a difficult thing to sort of lead them through. It's a delicate process.
Oh, wow, darling. Okay.
That's me.
I'm getting the floor. I wanted to ask you about the Veil Lodge I saw on your website, Two Lovely Gays.
Yeah.
The green ombre wall.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I've done ombre before. I've seen ombre. I know
They
it's
just
a big
didn't
thing.
finish painting it. You don't have to answer. I can tell it's not done. Some things you don't ask about. Are you listening to them?
They were busy that day. No, I'm just saying.
High budgets, you know.
I saw that and I kept trying to click on all the photos on your website, trying to get a better look at it and what you did and why you did it in such a dramatic way, because ombre to me usually is a very gradual change from one color to another. Well, this is not gradual. This is like, it's like it melted, like the paint melted on the wall.
Yeah, it's almost like you kind of ripped off a layer of the room, and underneath, it's almost like a tear in the room.
Almost an anti-ombre.
Yeah,
I guess. Like,
we just used a dry brush and just literally dry brushed the edge and feathered the edge of it. But we wanted it to be a bit more in your face, because the whole scheme in Veil Lodge was very
eclectic.
It was very eclectic. There's quite a lot of sort of cute, witty touches in that one. So we wanted to have a bit more of a dramatic effect with that, because actually all of the architecture in that space is quite bland. There's nothing really going on in terms of the architecture of the room. So we wanted to give something a bit more dramatic.
It's very dramatic, I have to say. And everybody listening, watching should go over and check out the Veil Lodge on Two Lovely Gays website. It's actually, it's my favorite one on the website. But we only have a couple of minutes left.
We do.
So I have two things. One, why do you hate lilac? And two, what should we go and check out from you guys? What are you doing next?
Okay, lilac. Gosh, you know what? We said that we hated lilac, and we've had such a tirade of abuse. People have started to create posts now that are like, why you should love lilac. I mean, Russell summed it up.
It's a very specific type of lilac that I have a bugbear with, because I think both of our mothers have decorated their entire house in lilac, but like a very pale pastel.
And it's when they team it with silver, and it's like, I think.
So you've literally been poisoned by one shade of that color. Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna have to share like the Pantone color, like what that color is with me, because I'm just dying to know. And so, what are you guys working on next? What's new? What should we be looking for?
So we've just bought a new house ourselves, which is a complete wreck. So this year, alongside the rest of our work, we must be insane, but we're going to be renovating that. The
intention behind it is we definitely didn't need that in our lives in terms of moving and doing a project. But what it is it's going to be a showcase for our work, because
no compromises.
Yeah, very often when you're working with residential clients, you get really in their skin and you deliver something that is very them. And so we wanted to be able to show the people that are listening, something that was very, very us, without any compromises, no boundaries. And so it's going to be full on. And we're doing a lot of collaborations with big brands and also some new up and coming designers in lighting and furniture. So everything's going to be bespoke, and it should be something quite exciting. It's
going to blow everyone's minds.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to have my mind just blown away, because I do cyber stalk you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And I was just checking out what you were looking at Buster and Punch, the LED lighting. Oh my goodness. So we have to go, though.
We do. I have to go put all my paintings in a safe.
And he's going to go buy some new shoes.
We really enjoyed talking with you guys.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Russell. Awesome. Two lovely gays. Thank you so much. Take care.
Might be just a pretty face looking back at me. You might be an idle conversation piece. You might be another wasted memory, but I'd like to wait and see. You might be the first date on a city street. You might be a kiss that brings me to my knees. You might be initials carved into a tree, and I'd like to wait and see.